Good morning, everybody. Merry Christmas to you. I want to start with these three verses, the most common and loved verses in the Old Testament, talking about Jesus and his birth. Isaiah 7:14, Isaiah 9:6, and my favorite, Micah 5:2. Therefore, the Lord himself will give you a sign. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and will call him Emmanuel. Emmanuel means with us is God. God is with us. Isaiah 9:6. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders. And he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And Micah 5:2. But you, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though you are small among the clans of Judah, out of you will come for me one who will be ruler over Israel, one whose origins are of old, from the days of eternity. Well, without any doubt, when you look at these verses, it's not talking about a man, it's not talking about a prophet. Clearly is talking about Jesus, Son of God. Now, the fair question. Last year, what I shared was about accuracy of the Christmas. How did they calculate it to find out when was the birth of Jesus? But this year, I want to maybe examine this question. Beautiful verses. Jesus was born 2,000 years ago. His name was this and that. What does it have to do with me and my life? How does it affect the journey of my life? And I would say it's a fair question, and I always welcome people that they do ask questions. Life is a journey. All of us, we start from a point, we end up in another point, and the adventures in between, up and down, sad or happy, that makes our journey. Sometimes the sadness, the pressure, the abuse is so much that practically is like living in hell. Right now, at this very moment, quite a big section of this planet, they are living in devastation, in pain, in the things that is beyond imaginations. What does Emmanuel has to do with my journey of life or your journey of life? You know, when we talk about journey and travel, have you ever thought about it? Traveling is not logical, it's very dangerous. You travel, you go to somewhere that you don't know the culture, you don't know the law, you don't have any connection. You're more susceptible to any kind of harm and danger. Yet, we are created to go after this quest, after exploration, after discovery. And that is in our nature. That's why the most pleasant portion of our year is what? Traveling, going to the places that is actually more dangerous than the place that we live. Now, there is a risk factor with every trip and traveling. Fortunately, nowadays, because of the technology, the danger and everything is less. But sometimes in your travel, in your trip, the danger could become from a potential to an imminent danger, especially if you're traveling and one of the factors is your companion. Who's the companion of your life, in your trip, in your journey? And if that person happens to have a weakness and betrays you, you will end up in a bad place. Betrayal by far is one of the most devastating problems that we have. people that they are betrayed over and over, they lose the ability to trust. They lose the ability to have and maintain any kind of healthy relationship. The depression is the byproduct of it. Anxiety, seclusion, and name it. Consequence of it, immune system, society, functionality, everything. Dante, the 14th century poet and philosopher, has written the epic poem of Divine Comedy in 3 sections: Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. Now, why is it significant? Because Dante uses this Inferno as a journey of himself to the depths of the hell. And practically it shows the lost souls, a story of every single soul. The companion of Dante is the Roman poet Virgil that guides him, helps him. Whenever he wants refuge, he goes to Virgil and gets help. So in Dante's Inferno, there is 9 circles that goes to the deepest part of the hell, and the deepest part of the hell, guess who lives there? Satan dwells there with betrayal. Betrayal is stated as the worst of the worst. And if you guys remember from the high school, the time that, we were pushed to study about Dante, talks about 3 heads of the Satan, and one of them is chewing on Judas. Judas is the symbol of the betrayal. Judas was the person that to the last moment in the Last Supper, Jesus loved him, gave him the highest place beside him. And yet, he was focused on betraying Jesus. Last week, the message was about a blind man. If you were here last week was about healing of a blind man. The blind man was considered in the Jewish culture and faith as a person that got blind because of the sin, either himself or the parents. Labeled, accused, judged, a person that has no place in the society. The faith ignored him. The culture and society didn't consider him. Even father and mother rejected him. Yet, this lowest of the low in the society was blind physically, but spiritually, he was not. And when Jesus is passing, he calls that, Son of David, have mercy on me. Yet, on the other hand, you have what? You have the priests, you have elite, you have educated people that right in front of their eyes, Jesus passes, and they refuse to even consider him, to listen to him. The betrayal of a person living in a society that is very harsh on him. The week before, Good Samaritan. Even though that in Good Samaritan is not talking about the direct betrayal, but the whole story is full of betrayal. At the end of the second last week, we were left with a question. Are you the neighbor? Your acts defines you as a neighbor or not. Beautiful story. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to expand a bit more on the symbolic language of that parable. So it is in Luke 10, 30 to 37, I'll tell you just a brief story of it. The response of Jesus to a master of the law, to a lawyer, to a judge, say. And he's telling this parable, talks about a man that leaves Jerusalem heading towards Jericho. In the middle of the way, he's beaten, stripped from his clothing, everything is taken away from him, and bleeding is left over there to die. There comes a priest. Says that the priest looked at him, just went to the other side, passed, because they didn't want to be unclean because of the blood and potentially the dead man. Then comes a Levite. Levite looks at him, and the same story. He walks on the other side. The priest and the Levites, they both pass. And Samaritans, they were despised by the Jews. They were not trusted. They considered them the people that they betrayed them, betrayed their faith, betrayed their everything. They're considered enemy. Yet, the Samaritan has compassion, comes and attends this man, takes him to the inn, looks after him, and gives 2 silver coins to the innkeeper, and says, look after him. If you spend more, I'll compensate you when I come back, and I will come back. So, what's the story of Good Samaritan? What is the symbols over there? Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a city on the peak of the mountains. The height of 2,575 feet is one of the highest cities on the surrounding. Practically after Mount Olive, a city sitting on the top of the mountains, close to the sky. The city that has a temple, has the Spirit of God present over there. Jerusalem, the meaning is Yerushalayim means, Yeru means flow, and Shalayim means complete, tranquility, peace. Symbol of the presence of God, the place that is presence of God over there, realm of God, protection of the God, safety of the God. And the man decides to leave Jerusalem, exercise his free will, and the man is not just a Jew. The Jew is the symbol of a person that God has chosen to dwell in his presence. The mankind chooses to practice, exercise his freedom, and looks at Jericho. Jericho looks attractive. Jericho is prosperity. Jericho is wealth. Jericho is success. Now, Jericho is 864 feet below the sea level. One of the most ancient cities, 10,000 years history, and the lowest city, altitude-wise, in the whole planet. Jericho symbolizes the stronghold of man, the thing that looks elusive. So the mankind decides to leave the Jerusalem, the peace and the comfort and the perfection of it, and go towards, take the journey of life towards Jericho. So the story says in the middle of the way is attacked by who? By the same culture, the same people, the Jews, that the one that he trusted. Keep in mind, betrayal is not from the enemy. Betrayal is from the friend. Same culture, same city. God forbid, if it's like close family, the trauma is not going to be rectified that easily. He is betrayed by the people of, not Samaritan, by the people of the same culture. Beaten. Even the clothes is taken away from him. I don't think, it was, Armani or, super expensive clothing, but they didn't even leave that one for him. Symbolically, this man is exposed to even the simplest element of the weather. Now, bring your mind. Recall the time that you've been hurt. God forbid, and maybe betrayed. We become so sensitive that even a simple conversation is not possible. The man is left bleeding, is dying, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. The priest that rejects him, ignores him, is the symbol of the law. The priests, they compose the law, they announce the law, they create the law. And the Levites, the priest and Levite, they were both from the same tribe. The priest, they would do the offering, the prayer, this sort of thing. And the Levite, they would do everything else in the temple. Whatever was needed is the law, and the governing body is the system, symbol of the system. Which system on this planet did not let down his people? Everywhere in the world, people are working harder. Is a mathematical calculation. Technically, in any balanced society, nobody needs to work more than 3 to 4 hours. These are known facts, but you're working very hard. You're paying taxes. And taxman comes, nothing you can do. System, they come and they offer that at the elections, we're going to serve you. But instead of that, they end up in ruling and ruining the societies. Then we wait for the next round. The system ignores the man that is dying. And there comes the Good Samaritan. Good Samaritan, as we heard a couple of weeks ago, Good Samaritan is Jesus. Good Samaritan is a person that you look at it, you think he's enemy, you don't trust him, yet that is the person that is healing you, is after you to help you. I should share this with you guys. Some 30-something years ago, I came to this country. I came as a refugee. I was converted. And my own country, the land that I grew up in, that I served it, was after me to kill me. I took refuge in this country. This Christian country embraced me. And it's very sad now that we are scared of saying Merry Christmas. Oh, somebody might be offended. You're not offended to come and take refuge in a Christian country, but you're offended for us greeting the birthday of the only person that conquered without bloodshed, the person that introduced love, brought healing. The Good Samaritan comes and attends the man that is fallen in the middle of his journey. How often we look around and we see people bleeding, traumas, the pains, the emotional scars. And there is no rescue, there is no help. He attends. The wine and the oil is a symbol of his blood. The forgiveness of the sin and the healing of the oil and the Spirit of God. The inn and the innkeeper. The inn is the church. The innkeeper is the person that serves the inn, the church. And Jesus commissions the innkeeper. Attend this man. Your duty is to attend the wounded, to attend the broken heart, attend the people that have the trauma, attend people that I send to your way. And don't worry about spending a bit more, I will compensate you. And God has always compensated, has always compensated. Many of you, you are the living testimony to that. Jerusalem versus Jericho. Jerusalem, city of God. Jericho is the city of moon god. The highest symbol of divinity, the lowest symbol of what looks attractive, promises prosperity, but in the middle of the way, we're going to be stuck. Now, what does it have to do with Emmanuel? What does it have to do with our life? Actually, quite a bit. Quite a bit. If you are one of the exceptions that in your life you were never betrayed, you were never hurt, you were never felt that you are stranded in the middle of the nowhere, all alone, in isolation, in pain, well, good luck for the rest of the journey. You are exception. But many times we find ourselves in pain, in agony. We find people around us in pain and agony. So, Jesus was born to attend the person that is in the middle of the journey and cannot go any further. To attend the person that everyone has left them behind. Now, we trust all type of system. We pay actually for it, quite a bit. Anybody has gone for the counseling, $300 an hour, $500 an hour, depending on that, who person is that, is looking after you. Medical systems. We trust them all, we try them all. Why not trying the person that says, listen, let me love you, let me attend to your wound. No cost. No cost. Let me present you the wine and the oil. The reason that I came here is to attend. The reality is, Emmanuel is not Emmanuel, will not mean anything because we left Jerusalem. We are in the middle of the way. But the Good Samaritan tells us that, let me change your heart. Make your heart a temple. Make it at Jerusalem, Yerushalayim. Let me complete it. Let me take the broken pieces, fix it, heal it, and let me dwell in it. Unless he's living in the heart, Emmanuel means nothing. And if he's living in your heart, you know what does it mean, the name of Emmanuel. And you know that you will have difficulty holding back, not sharing it. So today is the birthday that we celebrate of God reaching to us, saying that you left Jerusalem. Okay, I'll come. You remember the verse was saying what? Oopsie. Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. He will be the Prince of Peace in your heart. He will convert it to that Jerusalem. I want to summarize it with this. Just as the story, that parable of the Good Samaritan, the Jew was very suspicious and mistrusting towards anybody except his own people. As long as we rely on man, he will fail us. Why not giving it a try? Seeing what does Emmanuel does when it goes into our heart, when converts it. When the Jerusalem is not a city out there, because this Jerusalem that we're talking about is not a city of the peace, has been a city of the war and bloodshed for centuries. The revelation has come. The Jerusalem has to be here, and Emmanuel will dwell in it. That is the time that we can celebrate much deeper the birth of Son of God. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this day, for the gift that you gave us, for the Jesus that came after us, to attend us in the middle of our journey, not to stop us, but to enable us to finish it, to heal our wounds, to heal our body, our mind, and our soul, so that we can see, we can discern, we can distinguish where we have to trust, where we have to be cautious and careful. Today we want to celebrate in your presence. We want you to be among us. We want you to be glorified. And we want you to visit us specifically, to counsel us in the journey that we have. Many of us, we are the living witness of the fact that in the middle of the road, we stopped. We gave up until you arrived, until you attended us. We thank you for your oil. We thank you for your wine. And we thank you for the love, with a heart full of love, that has the capacity of taking every people, everyone, from every nation, from every culture. Be glorified among us in today's celebration. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, amen. Thank you for listening, and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, Mohammed, for sharing that special Christmas message. And now I would like to invite